Ahoy, Amazon sellers. Hope you're all well. I'm joined by Thomas Parkinson in Mexico City and Gavin Sweeney in Medellin, Colombia. I'm in
Something
London
like
in a
that.
wonderful little makeshift studio. Today, we're going to be talking about giving a little update on our Amazon businesses, a little bit about travel. Gavin's going to explain his amazing wholesale model that he's got going up and he's got going up and running in the last 3 months. You might as well kick it off, Gav, because it seems like everything's going peachy for you. Let us know why.
So wholesale is going amazing, yes, but I'm going to say my USA achievements is not doing that well. I think we're only going to make like 7 or 8K. So we made like
Talk
15K
a bit
last
more
month.
about that.
It just
Why only
seems to be in a
seven
bit
or
of a
eight?
downtrend.
What
I
you
think
mean?
we've
Do you
been
think
liquidating
because too
so
many
many
sellers are
shoes.
jumping on it? Sorry,
Yeah,
go on.
combination of that, and we've been liquidating a lot of bad buys. So obviously liquidating a bad buy with a shoe at negative ROI, plus it gets returned is a bit savage. But then I'm saying like I only made like between 6 and 8K this month. I still have like 100 returns waiting to come back to Amazon. So once those come back in, Invention Labs will credit me with the cost of goods. So it's probably maybe it's like 8, 7, 8, 9. At best, it could be 10K. But for me, that still feels pretty poor. On the plus side, I guess that'll go up though once we finish liquidating, right? But then on the plus side, the wholesale is absolutely smashing it. We have almost $130,000 of stock right now, and our available stock is 41K, and we're getting about 3.5K sales per day. So, and our
What's the
ROI on
profit on
average is
that?
about 35% with 2% return rate. So
Huge.
that is popping. So
But
yeah,
could we
but
just quickly go back to the shoes, because I know a few
okay.
people listening or watching might be thinking, "Oh my god, you're making 10 grand profit, and you think that's bad." I think a lot of people would love to be making 10 grand profit. So can you just dig into that a little bit more? Why are you ungrateful for that 10 grand? Is it because you had much higher expectations, or yeah, talk us through it.
Well, I want it to be around 15. I'd be happy with around 15K. So if I'm paying like 15, no, if I'm making about 15K net, I think that's a very comfortable amount. I was going to say a comfortable amount to live on, but that sounds absolutely ridiculous. So I live off like 2 or 3K per month. But I always want to be making enough to grow. But it's not necessarily the profit per month that's annoying. It's like the actual ROI per shoe that we're being sold and our return rate going up, that kind of thing. So it's the overall metrics around which results in a lower profit. But as I did mention, we have been liquidating a lot of stock that didn't sell during Q4 because I'm a bit worried about these volumetric storage fees and long-term fees. So I've been liquidating quite a few shoes and also to get more money back so we can buy more shoes as well. So I think, but I guess that's kind of a standard business month, right? I need to do another review in terms of like how much bad stock we still have. But I think the overall trend of that, the more expensive shoes, is that the prices are also downtrending now. So it looks like everyone's finally clocked on, like 3 or 4 months later, to move to expensive shoes. You know, everyone's done that, and then the price goes down. And it's like, oh my god, it's this again. Which is why I'm really enjoying wholesale. I don't have this problem with my wholesale stuff. It's a lot harder to do. It's a lot harder to get hold of. So I guess
It's
it's
very
kind of
true.
like in part I've started to make a bit less money, and it's also in part I'm having to deal with the same thing that I just dealt with 4 months ago, which is kind of
Yeah,
annoying.
so I know you've explained the wholesale thing. So you've got your focus in two different spheres. I know you said you're only spending a few
Yeah.
hours a week or a day, not even that, on the shoes. So is your plan for the next 6 to 12 months to try and grow the shoes? Do you want to get it to 15 and keep it there? How are you like thinking through that?
It's kind of like if
Or are
you
you
think
just
about
going to
it in terms
drop
of
it if
energy,
wholesale starts doing better? Yeah.
I think of it in terms of energy. If I put the most energy into a certain area, which area will give me the most return? The return for that for me is the wholesale. So I don't want the additional stress in growing the shoes to like 20K profit per month, like 200K plus revenue per month, where I can just hold it between 100 to 150K revenue. Because that's less stress. And also gives me a more clear picture of how much money I'm actually making. Because kind of like last year, it was like my accountant was like, okay, you made this much money. I was like, oh, that was a lot more money than I expected to make, to be honest. And that's fantastic. But the problem is that I wasn't 100% sure on how much money I'm actually making. Because with shoes, it's like shoes in return limbo, like you got to get sent back. It's just a lot harder to manage a higher return rate business.
Are you not? worried that you're getting shiny object syndrome with wholesale? I mean, on the face of it, it sounds really great and it sounds like a good thing to jump ship on. But do you think you're maybe like, are you jumping ship too early, or are you jumping ship at the right time because shoes are trending down, or is that trend down just a phase and it's going to go back up?
I wouldn't think of it as I'm jumping ship. Jumping ship would means I would just stop the shoes. I'm not stopping, but I have people to manage that, and then I also share deals with my friend, and he has a team of like 4 or 5 sourcing VAs, right? So we still have a very full and very big team collectively for shoes. So it's not just a case of we're jumping ship, but for perspective, I think the wholesale has made about 7K net profit this month. So last month was its first month of sales. It made about 2K. This month it made 7K. And next month I'm hoping we're going to be pushing 15K net profit. Now, but it's a lot easier to manage. It's a lot more complex in a lot of ways, but it's a lot easier to manage. And I have better understanding of the direction and where it's going, returns, and overall numbers.
Do you foresee any obstacles with it? Like, or is it just going to keep trending up? That's the hope.
At the
Do
moment,
you
the
think
biggest
there's going to be
obstacle
any
is just
issues?
capital. I think because of the nature of what I'm doing, I think there's always going to be obstacles. But it's like the margin is high enough to absorb problems. We got like 3 grand of stock that in the end, we couldn't sell on Amazon, and now we have to eBay it. So I could either deduct that from the net profit of the month and say I made 4K net profit, but I still have 3K of stock to eBay. So it's like I think there's always something we can do so far, and we can still outwork the problems. But it's just like what I've been thinking about it for a long time, is that I want something where I don't feel like I'm going to have to keep pivoting non-stop. Something a bit more scalable and more protected. Like, think about it, Seth. What you do is very protected, right? It's very hard for people to hop onto it and build your systems and processes. Shoes, anyone can just do it. So yes, I'm happy keeping shoes, and maybe we will continue to grow it because we have nudged into some wholesale shoes, which is good. But then the barrier to entry for the wholesale projects that I'm doing is just so high.
Interesting. So, just one question on eBay: how are the sales compared to Amazon for what you're selling? Because I know they're pretty slow for book. Well, for books is a bit different. eBay sales can be really good, but I'm just intrigued with your wholesale products. Like, what percentage of sales velocity are you getting compared to Amazon?
Oh, so we have no idea.
Oh,
To
because you haven't
explain, we've only
even done
just
it yet.
sent our stuff back to start eBaying, so we've only got that intel now. It's not like a side project is eBay. It's like if stuff doesn't go well, we just flog it on eBay. For example, we spend 2 or 3K on Kerastase items from wholesale. Then the listings got fully gated. So then I have to eBay them, right? So I still have the
Oh,
product, I still have the value of the product, but I can sell it through the stream of Amazon.
are
Oh,
you
maybe I
worried
could do
that could happen with
Walmart
other brands?
Marketplace. Why didn't I think of that?
I was just about
Hold
to
on.
ask both of you this question. So I got an email from Walmart earlier this week because they weren't accepting UK limited companies on the platform. So I applied 2 or 3 times and I got rejected. I actually got an email, them approaching me saying, "Look, now we're accepting UK limited companies. Would you like to do another application?" I obviously didn't reply because currently I'm pretty much only selling books and they don't sell books on Walmart
Yeah.
Marketplace. But yeah, Gav, obviously you might be thinking about it. Tom, I'd like to know if you're thinking about that too.
It's not something that I'm looking at doing. It's kind of like when we first started Amazon and we started selling on eBay and Amazon. It's just more complexity, and I think if you're going down like Gavin's wholesale route, absolutely fine. But for me, I have quite a big operation in Fast Track FBA, which takes so much of my time, and we're going through a transition period right now within my Amazon businesses. I think I've kind of talked about it previously. Like, we have a high return rate, so we have structural problems internally that I need to resolve before I start looking at anything else. So, if anything, the whole of last year, I spent the entire year trying to do more, and the whole of this year, I'm trying to do less. So, because it's kind of like, I just like, maybe coming back to what Gavin said, I want what we've got working really well, and I want to be able to say, like, I don't need to do anything. Like, I pretty much get to that little time, but last year I probably traveled too much. We had problems within the business, and we're paying the consequences of them now with higher return rates and bad purchases. And I don't feel confident to start exploring other options, knowing that there are problems in the current systems. that makes sense. I've got to deal with them first. And then also as well, not like, oh yeah, they're fixed, they're done. Like, no, they're fixed. And we've seen consistent results of them being fixed. Because the problem about Amazon is the lead time is horrendous. You know, you do something today, you'll probably see the results in 2-3 months' time. It takes time to fix all these problems. And even like, you know, we talk about return rates, such just stupid purchases we've made and they weren't being checked properly. So that needs to be improved. And like, yeah, I can jump in and check the returns, but the net result is do we see that consistently, or is it only being fixed because I'm checking it? And that means that I'm the solution, not the business has inherently learned it. So long story short, no, I won't be doing Walmart. I do like it. And I always thought outside of what we're doing, I'd only ever do Walmart if I was doing wholesale, because you're really starting to play like volume games, and your problem in OA is that you have problems with supply. So if you can get enough supply, sure, just go to all the marketplaces you can, sell that product. But if you can't, then don't bother. So that'd be my answer. Gavin, you going Walmart?
Well, now that we just discussed it, it makes so much sense for when I run into those types of issues. Because I have like another 2K of stock right now that got the listing taken down, so I was going to eBay it. But actually, if I can set a Walmart marketplace, it'll make so much sense, because the type of stuff we're doing will be there. Because if I'm buying like 50 units of a product to sell on Amazon, it probably sells quite a lot. I would imagine it has good popularity, so it should, in theory, sell on Walmart marketplace. If not, we can just return it and eBay it. So I think it makes a lot of sense, yeah. In terms of like what me and Seth have just been talking about, Tom, in terms of like how I'm doing my businesses right now, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you're fine. Like, there's no right or wrong. There really isn't. Like, if you want to go down the shoe route, fine. If you want to do the wholesale route, fine. What's interesting is the shoe market in the US has been really impacted over the last year. You know, gift cards, everyone's getting into the niche. And it's a really kind of dangerous game in the fact that it's great profits on the upfront, but if you're not factoring in your return fees, it causes big problems. And it's really up to you. Like, if you want to play that game, fine. If you want to go down the route whereby you have it's easier to visualize your numbers, and you don't have like what's known as, it's like potential debt, should we say. You know, it's like my shoes are fine, but I could get a lot of returns and that could hit me, and I still don't know those numbers off the top of my head. Like, it creates more complexity. I'm still trying to go down the route of simple scales, fancy fails, or should we say, Alex Hormozi saying, but simple scales, complex is a nightmare. And hey, I run 3 companies. 2 of them, you know, do the same thing, but still, there's a lot of complexity within that, and like people, and like, oh my god. But we get there, and it's hard. So I think, if anything, look, regardless of what we do, whether it be books with Seth, wholesale shoes with you, and whatever I do, we're all aiming for the same thing: money and a great quality of life. And we can decide to go towards that goal by doing lots of different things. Or we can just choose one thing which works really well and we understand and just keep doing that. And by the way, you mentioned it, like, you do have to change, you do have to turn, or like you're frustrated with I have to keep adapting the model and doing it. That's an inevitable. But I do think you're going to get to the point where, like, it's up to you what decision you make. And I've interviewed quite a lot of big wholesalers recently, and they make some good numbers. So I think if you can get that right, then you're going to be in a good place. So, yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, because our biggest issue with shoes is not knowing numbers and spending enough money. Our biggest issues with our wholesale is just getting enough money. Like, everything has been... Don't get me wrong, our wholesale is very complex, but it's very simple too. The analyzing is very simple, but the actual model itself and the things we have to do is very complicated. Like, the barrier to entry is super high.
And if I just kind of jump in, I'm looking at financing options for the US right now. And the one problem we have is we're non-US residents, and we have no physical presence in the US nor assets. And I've gone through some financing options. I had a conversation with someone yesterday, and they were like, first thing first, like, they asked 4 questions. Are you a US resident? No. Do you have an LLC? Do you have assets in the country? And like, the assets was the point. So like, I'm really sorry, even with your credit rating, we can't give you anything because there's no assets. And they're like, the conversation has to stop. So non-US residents in the US getting credit is really challenging, which is a big part that people don't really talk about. Great margins, just a lot harder for credit.
Yeah, so true, so true. Which is why having, if you have the time, high margin, lots of time input is the quickest way to scale if you can get lots of credit.
It's funny how so many of our conversations come back to focus and not getting shiny object syndrome. Like, Tom, you're saying you don't want to look at Walmart because you want to sort out all the problems and iron out all those kinks in your business.
Yeah.
And then, Gav, you're thinking about going into the wholesale because it looks like a better prospect, and you can't really focus on both. I'm similar
Well,
because
no,
when I was doing
hold on.
shoes, sorry, go on.
We can focus on both. It's not a problem. But it's more like what I'm saying is the shoe market has changed dramatically in the last 1 year, as Tom said. And we've done the right pivot in terms of shoes. Then the margin's been hit. And then I've been doing wholesale now for 2 months. And I'm getting way higher margin than shoes. It's way easier to spend money. I'm already going to make more money this month than I'm going to do in shoes, which to me is insane. For the second month of a new business to reach like 8K net profit is really goddamn good. And we've only got 30% of our stock available.
Yeah, that's why it seems like such a good opportunity because of that. But let's not forget, you've put in the graft. You've worked really hard to work out the ins and outs of how it works. It's not as simple as just going on a retail site, buying a pair of shoes for $35 and selling them for $80, right? Like, anyone can do that. Although when I did buy 50 pairs of shoes or whatever, because I'm not used to regular OA, I did love the fact that you send a shoe in and it would sell within like 10 days or sometimes a day. Obviously, that doesn't happen that much with books. It's a bit more like you wait 14 days, 30 days. So it kind of, I do still like shoes, but question on that Soros geezer, did he make that 10 million mainly on shoes? And if so, is he still doing shoes, or is he like transitioned to wholesale?
So he did mention he put like a 250 wholesale order through. So I'm going to argue is going mostly wholesale. And actually, from what I've been seeing, a lot of these big shoe sellers have been pivoting towards shoe wholesale. There's very few of them doing. They're starting to do less and less OA now. I've spoken to quite a few big shoe sellers who have all pivoted to wholesale as well.
You just like the problem you get is the fact that I remember when I was doing $500,000 a year and I thought $1 million would be the limit of OA in the UK, and obviously it's not. We did 3 million. So in the US, like you just start getting to a point whereby it just becomes increasingly harder to make big purchases to spend the cash that you have. And I recently released a YouTube video talking about it where we took an Amazon loan, and it was kind of like when you first get the loan, you get so much money in your bank account that your job is to spend because you're just paying interest on it. And it comes really like it's a hard game to play, especially with OA, where you're ordered, limited ordered size. There are problems around that. So I think it's a really interesting point, and I can really understand why. The bigger you get, the more you transition to other parts or other models.
Yeah, I just thought I watched Instagram of Soros saying why OA is better than wholesale, but he sounds like he's going back on that. But I guess there are positives and negatives to both, right? Like, but the fact that wholesale is a harder barrier to entry, that's why it makes sense for you to steam ahead, Gav, because it sounds like you've got everything on lock. I guess the only like I was asking about obstacles, the only obstacle is if Amazon gate you in some of the brands you're selling. But are you mitigating that risk by selling lots of different brands?
We are pretty heavy in some brands, to be honest, but usually Amazon will give you a lot of notice. They give you like 2 months notice usually. But with Kerastase, with Kerastase, we was on the last 2 weeks of that notice period for everyone else, so we didn't get the email in time. So that was just kind of like being really unfortunate. So we bought it all, and then once it got to shipping it in, it was all gated. It was removed from all gating. So that was just really unfortunate. And because of companies in Spain, we couldn't return it either because of customs. So, I mean, it's just one of those things, it's just business. Nothing you can do about it. But again, for wholesale, I mean, I want to speak about the strength of networking, because I would not have been able to grow this quick for our wholesale to do like 70K revenue in our second month, 100K plus next month, without having the right network. To explain that in more detail, I've said it before, but I have 2 friends, 2 business owners. We share everything. We have access to all of each other's deals. We share VAs across businesses. So we have a very large pool of VAs, a good network. And then any issues one of us faces, I'm going to face it at some point as well anyway. So I get to know what the problem is. So it's like we share we have less fuck-ups individually because we share the fuck-ups collectively.
I thought you were going to say you share girls there, VAs. All right.
That'd be a bit of an odd one.
No, that is great advice though, because it's so true. Like, I wouldn't have met you guys if I hadn't have engaged in the Facebook groups. I was a proper hermit before that, and yeah, I was doing all right, but I've like 4x since then and beyond.
It just takes you to the step further massively.
Yeah, you got to share, haven't you? But you've got to know who to trust, because there's a lot of snakes in this game.
That's so true. You get scammed by so many people.
There are no snakes. It's all a perfectly wild, perfectly safe environment.
That's why I feel quite lucky that I met you guys, because you're actually genuine geezers, I feel like that's rare in business from what I've seen.
Just Amazon sellers.
People are out to fleece you, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like half of Twitter's doing gift card fraud and they don't even know it. They just sold this service. But they are making lots of money, but they're committing fraud at the same time. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't want any part of that.
Or you'll
Shall
see
I
like
explain
groups
what's
of
going on in
people
my
on Twitter
business?
collectively promote each other. And it's like a massive circle jerk to sell services. Yeah, it's
MLM.
social media can be
MLM
wild.
vibes. Twitter's a scary
Vibes,
place.
I love it.
Pardon?
MLM. Yeah, Twitter's a scary place, isn't it? People do not hold back. That's the difference with Facebook groups, isn't it? As soon as someone's aggressive on Facebook group, they get binned. Whereas on Twitter, it's fair game. You can say whatever you want, which we saw off air.
It's because it's an open conversation, not a closed one. Groups are closed, and then you have to maintain your access. Whereas the Twitter's like, and then everyone jumps in on it. Like everyone, like I'm having a bad day. Seth's stupid. Yeah, Seth's really stupid. Like he said this once. Like he was drunk, but I'm not going to tell you that drunk part. I'm just going to say that he's stupid and give you an example of it. But yeah, like I think there's a lot of voting.
I was going to say, you just need to keep top of mind that the only people cussing you out are ones that aren't doing well. Probably. I don't know. Do you see someone with like 100k followers saying you're a dickhead to someone else? Probably not.
You're always going to have haters, but yeah, if someone's got that many followers, I doubt they're going to be like just trying to rinse people all the time. It's usually like
they're going to be focusing on themselves.
People.
Yeah.
They're going to like you don't really see it. It'll be like if they're 100k followers, they'll be focusing on growing their following, and they really don't want to be they don't want to be controversial because it will detract from their following count. But it like who it is. It's the ones where they're not the person. It's just like an image or something weird. Like it's because in Facebook you have to really verify who you are, and it's not. It is quite easy to create a new one. But Twitter, they don't care. They're just like whatever, create a persona, whatever, hide, and then you get it. It's like people who are like. Seth Baker is a meanie. That would be their name. And then they go around commenting on all your posts because someone wants to spend their life doing that. You're like, okay, fine. It's your life. Waste it like you like. They do it.
Procrastination. Rude procrastination.
Should we move on to Colombia? I'm interested to hear all about it. Everyone dreams of like, wow, you need to go to Colombia. Gavin's there. Tell us. Seth, have you been to Colombia?
I would love to go to Colombia. I had a friend go there and she said the beaches were beautiful, but you've not been to a beach yet, have you, Gav?
No,
you can do the comparison: Mexico City versus Colombia.
Oh yeah,
versus London.
I like Mexico City more than Colombia, to be honest.
5 reasons why.
Well, I will say I've had the best sushi of my life in Medellin. It was so good and it's so cheap. Medellin is absolutely dirt cheap. It's ridiculous.
Oh, and how much are Ubers? How much was your Uber?
I do Uber Comfort for like a 15-minute journey. It's like $3. If you use standard non-comfort, it's like $1.50. So that's super cheap too.
And in comparison, I spent 50 quid, £50 getting a Uber from like Tower Bridge to my house in Surrey Keys, which I think is only about 2 miles. But because it was a Saturday night, it took forever. And I don't know why I didn't just get out. I think it was raining, but yeah. I kind of miss that Mexico City lifestyle. Might have to come back in September.
I need to come back. When I was the women are hot here for sure. It's got a bigger volume of hot women than Mexico City. I think the women.
Is that just because you're new though? Because I find that whenever you go on holiday, you feel like the women are more beautiful. But is it just because you're on holiday, you're in a good mood, and they just look slightly different?
I think it's the amount of plastic surgery here.
Oh, you're into that.
Yeah.
Can you tell it? Is it quite obvious?
Yeah. You see some ridiculous asses that make zero structural sense. It's completely impossible to have an acne.
Zero structural sense. Nice.
But yeah, I do. But then you can't really date the woman because you risk getting drugged. The chance of getting drugged is so high. So it's like...
So what are your plans then?
I have a date later with an American woman.
I meant what your plans for the next couple of months, but yeah, later.
Oh, okay.
Date night,
I am.
Friday night.
Gavin, you can't go to Colombia and date American women. That's just a disaster. That's like saying I went to Colombia and I went to Colombia. Oh, how long were you there? 2 weeks. Cool. What did you do? I spent the entire time in the Hilton Hotel learning about American culture on CNN. You're like, don't do that. Not every woman's gonna solopamine you or whatever it's called.
It's a very high chance, though. And I think of it a risk-reward ratio. The risk is higher than the reward, so I don't really care. Like for me, I still think Mexican women are hotter anyway.
So you've worked a lot. You've eaten sushi. You're going on a date with an American woman. Have you done anything cultural or anything Colombian?
Yeah, I hung out with some Colombians when Martin came. We went to this. It was like a bar / dancing studio or something like for salsa. Like everyone was drinking, but there was like one had to salsa at the same time, and I was just watching there, really bored.
Yeah, they have that in Mexico City as well.
Yeah,
Cafe
you should
Mambo's.
do that.
Have you been, Tom?
Gavin,
It's good fun.
We went to another one last night, but yeah, I've been there. We'll probably go there tonight. Yeah.
Wednesday nights, Cafe Mambo's. It's free salsa for beginners. I went, and obviously I was just way tall and everyone had 2 left feet. It was a disaster.
And obviously, like generally, terrible. Mexican women are quite small. So there's Seth, like the 6'5" giant, dancing with like a 4'3" girl. Like it's just hilarious.
It wasn't fun. And also, bear in mind that because we're in a Spanish-speaking, predominantly city and country, the instructions for how you learn salsa are in Spanish, and I don't speak any Spanish. So not only was I bad at it anyway, I didn't know what they were trying to say. I had no clue what was going on.
Funny to see.
Yeah, it would have been. It was.
But well done for you for going. I think that's a really important point. Well done for going. Like Gavin, here's the thing. Like you're in a Latin country. Go and enjoy some Latin culture. Like you can go enjoy American culture in America.
I've got some tours coming up soon as well, which would be interesting.
Good. Schlopamine tour.
I want to do the Pablo Escobar tour as well. Actually, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Don't you meet like his cousin or something? You meet some people really close to him if you do that tour. But I think so. I think my brother did it, and he said that you actually meet some close relatives of his.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Tom, are you doing any traveling soon?
That'd be like a really imagine you were the cousin and like you were literally like that was your job. My job is like I could work, but I actually get paid more money for people meeting me because of like my uncle or something. I'd be like, that's the most boring life ever. By the way, I'm not saying that is what they actually do, but it's just my perception.
Depends. Imagine that money you made to run an Amazon business on the side. He's actually an Amazon seller. He just does that.
Could be. He could be an Instagram model. He could be an OnlyFans model as well, or she. I don't know who it is.
Yeah.
Exactly. With the ungodly. What is it called? The Brazilian butt lift, which is like impossible to apprehend. I don't know what Gavin calls it. Structurally unsound Brazilian bum.
Honestly, it's like I take a picture when I see one again. So it just makes no sense whatsoever to the human mind.
You can get it now. Gavin's like, well, I didn't get schlopamine, but I did get stabbed for taking a picture of a girl's bum.
In fact, we know some guy, one of the Colombians who was with, 1 month ago, he got mugged at gunpoint for walking alone on the road at 6 p.m.
What time does it get dark there?
About 5:30.
Exactly.
Second it went dark, got mugged. That's unfortunate. Yeah. And the rule of thumb here is to never walk alone at night. Or never walk at night, actually.
Get your Uber comforts. That's the most important part. Uber comfort.
Unless you're in the main drinking area, then you're fine.
So how long are you staying there for, Gavin?
I think I have like 2 more weeks, and I got 2 weeks in Mexico City. And I have 1 week in London, or 4 days or 5 days in London. Then back in Mexico City for a month. Then in Paraguay for tax residency. So
does that mean you're a tax dodger now?
Yeah, I thought you made up a word there. You said tax evasionary, and I was like, oh yeah, you're evading tax. No, residency.
Yeah.
What is the process with that?
So it's going to cost me about 4K to set it up, and I'll basically become a tax resident of Paraguay. Then I will open a Paraguayan company, and then I will charge my companies consultation fees. That brings the profit down to zero. And in Paraguay, you pay 0% tax on foreign earned income.
Are there any obligations to that? Do you have to spend a certain amount of time in Paraguay, like the Dubai situation, or is it?
You can kind of like leave yourself a paper trail that says you're living in Paraguay. So you have like a house, you're renting a house, that kind of stuff, then you just leave country. And it still shows you're like living there. And unless the UK chase you on that, you'll be absolutely fine. But the UK is a company that's built on fraudulent money. So it's like, well...
Seth, all the money you're making is fraudulent. What does that mean? How does that feel to you?
I don't think the UK actually care that much, to be honest. But also, interestingly enough, what I recently discovered is that my LLC, I accidentally set it up as a single member entity, which means it's a disregarded entity.
Doesn't make a difference for tax purposes.
Meaning I don't have to pay USA tax. It gets forwarded to the country of residence that you are in. So, if I have no UK residency, who do I pay tax to?
It doesn't. Well, technically, if you think about it this way, like when you think about what you're talking about is corp tax. So corp tax is on profitability of the company. So if you if you had a C corp, you retained your profits in the company, yes, you'd be taxable. But because it's a pass through. By the way, this is not financial advice, it's my understanding. Seek a financial advisor. Because it's a pass-through, any profits immediately pass through to you. And then obviously you're taxable on you personally, and obviously if you're in Paraguay and there's a 0% tax rate, then you'd pay nothing. But if you had a C Corp, if you decided to take out the profits as a salary prior to declaring those profits, then the profits of the company would be zero. And then also as well, because you're taking them as a salary and you live in Paraguay with a 0% tax rate, you still get zero. So in effect, they're exactly the same. The only difference is you can't hold money, you can't hold profits in your company. So if you do decide to return to a taxable country or a country whereby there is a tax rate greater than zero, you will now be taxable on the full amount of profits, not whatever you just decide to take as a salary. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. So you basically take out all your money before you get taxed on profits. You take out all
and I think you've got to be careful as well. Like, don't quote me. I don't know this exactly, but I've heard it from a few friends of mine who've gone from non-tax or low to zero tax resident countries into higher tax rate countries. I think like Spain, Portugal, for example. I think they look at what your earnings were prior to coming in, and they ask you to be taxed on them before you can move in and become part of their tax residency. Don't quote me. It's a really hearsay. That's not like factual at all. But my friend said he wants to go live in Portugal or Spain or something. And he said because of where his companies are operating and the way it's been structured, he's basically going to face a 6-figure tax bill, which is
He's basically paying for residency
because his wife wants to live in Spain.
Okay, so don't get a wife that wants to live in Spain. Top tip:
get a Paraguayan wife.
There you go, sorted.
Or Colombians. You can stay in and start dating American women.
Did you see on Wise now, Transfer Wise, that they're giving you a 4.32% interest rate if you move over? Like, you can move your money into a different bucket and take it out whenever you want. So I've moved a bit of money over to that just earlier today. I just got a notification for it. So it's pretty nice, isn't it? If you've got a little bit of cash in the bank.
Yeah, I'm looking at potentially moving over. We do Santander in the UK, so I might move over to that. Why? Because Santander is a nightmare for trying to give access to other people to view only and also access for it. Like all these old banks, you just they're like, well, they have to be a UK resident and we have to have this. And you have to come into the branch to show us their details to set them up in the account. I'm like, can't I just create my fucking access? They're so behind the scenes. So I'll probably move everything over to Wise and start doing that because it's just so much easier to transact.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you're going to be able to speak to a human and not have to wait on hold.
Customer service
so many
is good as well.
companies like that. Yeah.
They're really quick in handling situations. I remember when my my TransferWise card got hacked. They got me my money back in 3 days, which is really good.
No, it's good, yeah. Don't you think it's such a scam that we've been going through 10% inflation for however many months and only now does a bank allow us to have 4% interest on our money? How much of a scam?
That's Santander interest rate.
You still lose interest.
Yeah, it's 3%.
We're still losing money, but it's better than how do banks get away with that? when inflation's running
Because-
so high? Surely it should be a
Because
rule. that
it's
you
not
have to
like
at
that.
least
It's
have a-
no. Because it's the same as us. It's like, how do you guys get away with buying it for $5 and selling it for 10? You're killing people. I think I saw like a post somewhere. It was like Rake and Profit, and it was like someone was like, "I'm really against you buying all the cheap books that the poor people can't read. Like, you're ruining society." And Rake was like, "There's 17,000 other books that aren't profitable they could read instead. Like, I'm just buying the profitable ones." Like, but it's a
answer.
market-driven economy. You know,
Yeah,
I'm not.
don't like
I'm not
capitalism.
stopping you.
Go
Exactly.
to China.
Maybe we got to
to
move into inflation
go to North
arbitrage.
Korea.
Inflation. Go to North Korea. Next stop, people.
Let's all go
North
to
Korea.
Should we do it? Should we all go? That'd be a great.
Kim Jong. I remember when I was in Vietnam. Vietnam was hilarious. It was like global inflation was like 3%, and Vietnam was doing 10% in the banks. And I was like, something's not going to work here. I don't know the exact answer, but I was like, I'm not putting my money in a Vietnamese bank. I'm really not. Like, I just don't think I'll ever get it back again. They're like, you can spend
Yeah, I
it,
mean,
but in Vietnamese dong
What are their
only.
their bonds are probably like D minus, aren't they? I wouldn't really trust them.
Venezuelan bond market.
Guys, what's
Yeah.
your traveling plans? Go on, Tom. What's yours?
We're off to Denver in 2 weeks, I believe, for a week to
Denver.
see my girlfriend's family, which is nice. I've never
America?
been. Yeah, America. So we can go meet American women in America. I'm not
Colorado,
dating,
isn't it?
obviously, because
Is it-
I'm going with my
Is it
girlfriend.
Colorado?
Okay.
Colorado.
Well,
My
She's
girlfriend's just
half-
giving me the evil.
she's half American, half Jamaican.
Jamaican.
Yeah, half Jamaican, half
Colorado.
Jamaican.
No, yeah, so we're having two conversations at the same time. So yeah, we're in Colorado, going to Denver. So I interviewed, who did I interview? I interviewed someone and they were like, yeah, one day it's snowing and the next day it's like shorts and t-shirt weather. I'm like, what? They're like, it's the weird time of year right now. So we shall see. I have to buy a coat. I have to buy a thick coat. I don't own one because I try and avoid cold countries like the plague. So that's my travel plans. Then after that, probably nothing. I'll probably pop back to the UK, go see my family. I've not seen them for a while. And that's it. This year, I think I'm probably just going to try and calm down. Traveling 3 months last year was a bit excessive, and I've already done a month away.
Yeah.
So I've already been 30% this year. I've been away out the country. So I think that's pretty
It's
good.
sad that you're not going to get to triple platinum status on whatever hotel brand.
What?
know
No, I
you-
don't really mind.
Yeah, you're going to suck that.
I've got the status, so I can use it for the whole year. But like I said to my girlfriend, we'll go to the Maldives this year, so that'll probably be at some point. But when, I don't know. Need to sort my life out.
Sounds nice.
Go exercise.
I'm going to Cyprus in 3 weeks. That's as exciting as it gets.
Yeah, that's a classic British holiday.
Yeah.
It's the only place within 5-hour flight that's going to be 25 degrees plus. So I'm happy.
You might as well go to
get down.
Benidorm or Magaluf.
Second.
It's going to be nice. It's going to be nice. Going to eat lots of Greek food. What's not to like?
Are you going? How many guys are you going with, or is it a girl? Are you going with a girl?
Going with the missus, yeah.
Who's your Mrs. Nesdef?
Don't say that. Has only ever had one?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, she's the lucky only.
It's all right. You can share some Twitter updates while he's there. Selfies. Hey guys,
will.
going to Benidorm.
Yeah, there'll be a
Magaluf.
few with some zero alcohol pina coladas.
Wow.
you
Are
sticking
you
to
really
that?
still off the alcohol?
I had a few wines on Saturday, but I was still fresh on Sunday, so the
So give us an
minimal
update.
alcohol's going well.
How's it going?
It's-
What's the positives? Would you recommend it?
The clarity of thought. I've kind of come out of a haze of either being hungover or drunk for quite a long time, and just having that clarity of thought and no anxiety, and also just getting some motivation and ambition back is very refreshing. So I thank you guys for spurring that on. And also I've just realized that just don't need to party as much. It's fun being excited to wake up in the morning, having like challenges to do, and not just drown your sorrows in alcohol. So yeah, I'd highly recommend it. Phenomenal. And I'm looking to continue it for as long as possible, because I don't want to spend my days just bored because I can't be bothered to do that extra task or whatever it is. It's just a million things. And obviously it's a
Drowning
bit
your
more
sorrows in
boring,
alcohol is really
but-
good.
Yeah, it's fun sometimes, but I think I said this to you once, Tom, that I read an article that was like talking about beer mode and coffee mode. And I've been doing beer mode for 2 years. So I think it's time for a bit of coffee mode. And you know what? Coffee's tasty, it's fun, and you can drink it most of the day. Just stop before 5 p.m. Whereas alcohol starts after 5 p.m. and never stops. So wins all round at the moment, feeling a lot healthier. Great.
Well done. Proud of
mate,
you.
continue.
Well done.
Yeah, big stuff.
It's right. And
Yeah,
it's
just
interesting
need to be
because
more
in English culture, we're big drinkers. That's the thing. Like, it's culturally very normal. So coming and you see the problem with that, and it's quite nice to get away from it and to say like create your own culture. If that makes sense. So
Yeah,
I've had some great days boozing.
Yeah, of course, but it's the only drug that people get offended
Legally
if you're not doing it with them. Yeah, but also that people get offended if you're not doing it, and you're the weird one.
Why are you not doing the heroin with me? Come on, man. Why are you not doing heroin?
Use a needle, bro.
Yeah, use the needle. Sharing's caring.
It's crazy, and I do
Not
see
PG
one
rated.
side of it because alcohol
Now you're a new
it
man.
does breed
But like,
it does lower your social inhibitions, but that is the main benefit and the only one really, and it does help with bonding. But once you get past that, it's fine.
Gavin, what's your travel plans?
I've already mentioned my travel plans.
Should we wrap up?
Is there
Yeah,
anything else
well,
you
we've
want to
gone
discuss?
45
Yeah,
minutes.
no,
So thanks everyone for watching and listening. Please give us a like, comment, and subscribe, and ask us any questions, as we will be back in a couple of weeks. Annoyingly, I won't be in Greece at that side. So yeah, likes around. Thank you, everyone. Cheers, Tom and Gav, for joining the call. And I'll chat to you again in 2
That's
weeks.
cool.
Peace out.
Peace out, guys. Have a good one.
Peace out, bees. Bye.